It is Club Trev, Footy and Frothies. Today we're lucky enough, Trev and I have trekked down, the other Trev, Plan B Trev, has trekked down to the Cumberland Oval Bar, and we're very lucky to be joined by Daniel Payne, author, collectible, how do we address you, antique guru, footy enthusiast, Dan Payne, and his son Kurt is joining us as well.
Hello.
What's going on, Kurt? We'll start with you.
What?
How are you today,
How are you, mate?
I'm doing all right,
Yeah? So, what's it like living with Dad here?
Interesting. Well, I'd say it's not a normal childhood compared to the other common child. With all this footy collectible stuff, relics in the bar, and everywhere else in the house.
And Daniel, how have you been, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for coming along.
No, thanks for having us
on the show, and it's been a pretty good year for Parramatta.
Yeah. So
mate.
both Para fans?
Yeah.
Naturally, yeah.
It's awesome. Hey, let me just tell you a quick story. When I first made contact with you, Dan, to say, do you want to come on the pod?
Yep.
When you agreed, I messaged Adrian and Barn, who's not here today. I said, boys, we're catching up with the NRL Antiques guru, Dan Payne, at the Cumberland Bar. Well, Adrian over here jumped on Google and said, where's the Cumberland Bar?
Yeah, it was somewhere in Manly. What? And then Nigeria was going on. But yeah,
That's right.
that was my start.
I did try to set it up in Google as a location, but it was a bar, but it wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a business.
Not licensed enough, yeah.
It's not licensed, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, Dan, tell us where everything started. So, passion footy from pretty much a kid?
Well, how about I tell you first about the Cumberland Oval sign?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, sure.
So I picked this sign up from a lady who went to put it in my Facebook group, and as soon as I saw it, I took it out and said, look, I messaged her directly. I said, look, I'll happily buy the sign off you. And Kurt and I went and picked it up from this lady at Windsor, and it was covered in cobwebs and everything. And that's how we ended up building this bar, because I had the sign. I thought, well, what's the good of that sign? I need to do something. So I built the bar, then everything else around you. So it all that's how the bar got built.
Yeah. And the seats you were telling us from the old Para Stadium.
Yeah. 2 seats from Parramatta Stadium. So I've got the old Cumberland Oval, Parramatta Stadium, but I don't have anything from Bank West yet.
Yeah.
Give it another 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
He was there last night, Trev. You enjoyed that?
Yeah, no, it was pretty good there. The facilities out there are amazing.
First time out there?
Yeah, first time out there, believe it or not. Most people were shocked, but it was my first time being there, because each time I've planned to go there, I've been told to go to another ground.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's an awesome stadium.
Yeah.
Kurt and I, we got tickets, luckily, to the Parramatta-Brisbane semi-final last year, where they beat them by about 100-0.
Yeah.
It was an awesome atmosphere, so it's really good.
And how have you enjoyed Para this year?
Yeah, good. The forwards are tough. The back line's awesome, Stevo, and it's a very good side. Even with Mitchell Moses, they had that Jai guy from St
Jai
George.
Field.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was awesome. So like, why did they let him go? But yeah, they're very tough. The forwards are tough. I think that's doing it.
And you're doing it without Brown at the moment. Get him back next week.
Yeah, get him back. And also, like, the new rule probably suits Parramatta.
Yeah.
They're a pretty quick side, and they don't really wrestle.
Well, it was a blessing. It looked like you're going to have no hooker for the year, and then a miraculous recovery, and it suits him down to the ground as well.
Oh, yeah. Reed Mahoney,
Reed,
awesome guy. Yeah, I love it. I love the team, but I've gone for him forever. And like you asked me how I got started, so as a kid, I just loved rugby league. There was something about it, talking to my uncles and mates. We all used to I sort of wrote it in the book there, a bit about what got me into it as a kid. So my uncle would talk to me about football, and we'd watch a little bit. My best mate had his brother had all the big leagues, so we'd sit there and look at the big leagues. And I remember he threw them out at the end of the year, and we're like, Jesus, why would you do that? And collecting the bubble gum cards I remember the first time I bought them with a school fete. So they were sitting there and at the school, and
Was that the old Scanlon?
yeah, they must have been 79, I think, or 80, because I was just there, and I'd never seen them before. And she goes, they're last year's. I said, it doesn't matter. And then, and then the next year I bought some from the packets. I remember it was 81. I got them from the packets, so I was in year 1. And then we all sort of traded them and that. And and then as I got a bit older, like year 7 and 8, one of the kids used to bring in his dad's football cards, and they were from the 70s, and I never even knew about them. And that's part of the reason I wrote that green book, or the brown book, and that. So that's just a history of the catalogue of all cards that have ever come out that we know of. And yeah, because I was thinking, I had no idea what years these cards were, and they all looked a little bit different. They're all from the 70s and 60s. So,
And is that it? Have you created your own archive essentially to keep track, or is there a public one? That's what it is.
Books they're basic and art.
And you build that from scratch. Did you have to go out and do your research? How long did that take you putting together the first two?
The brown one, 2008. I remember that took about 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty simple sort of book. And then after that, I did the green one, which is a bit better. But there's, it's a big job publishing a book. Even, it's just basically a list. And we better stop with this. What are we going to do with the cat?
We got Vincent the cat here. He should be right. He won't hear it here. He'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, Vincent the cat's not happy. He can come back in the bar if it'll keep him happy.
Yeah, maybe let him
He's just going to take my thongs. Kurt, do you want to duck over and let Vincent back in? This is a
Vinny C. We'll call him.
Quality audio program when you get on Club Trev. There he is. He's happy now. He's back in the bar. Don't blame him.
We'll see.
A cat after my own heart. He cries when he's not at the bar. So that took you 4 years to get through?
Yeah, the first book took 4 years.
Yep.
And the other book, The Heroes Yesterday, that was published early this year, just before COVID. And I already did the interviews. Basically, all those interviews were already done, and that still took 6 months to publish.
Yeah.
To put it into a book, once you get your typesetter, a cover design, and an editor going through. And yeah, it's a pretty big job, even like all the work was done, essentially. So,
and talk us through. Well, we may as well start with Heroes of Yesterday. Where did the idea for that start? And it was just that you knew so many great stories you wanted to publish one, or
yeah. I remember I was going through the Big League magazine, an old Big League from probably the 90s, and I had a look because I've got the website and everything, and I had a look and I said to Kurt, this is pretty interesting. It's just a one-page interview. Maybe I should do that for my website. So I sort of thought, yeah. He goes, yeah, do it. And then so I've ended up approaching a few players, and no one really wanted to hear from me. And then Big Bruiser Clark, he's not in the book, but he said, oh yeah, send us through some questions, I'll answer them. And then that was my first interview. And he'll be in Big Bruiser, he's coming here in a couple of weeks, and he's going to be in book 2, so we're going to redo his interview, because the first interview wasn't good. I interviewed probably 60 odd players.
Yep.
And so with this book, I just picked the 30 that I'd done already that were already pretty decent interviews, because some of them, it was not the player, it was me. I wasn't very good at doing the interviews, and like anything, you practice, you get better at it. So so I've picked 30 of the best interviews there. Throw it over here. Yeah, there's some.
Just want to tell our listeners the name of the book. Yeah,
so it's Rugby League's Heroes of Yesterday. Even got my good mate Andrew Voss to write on the cover. What's he say? As a fan of rugby league, Dan Payne is simply the best. A student of the game who warrants immortal status. That's a bit generous. But most of the interviews here, each one's like if you've ever had a beer with the guys or something like that, it's always a better interview,
Yeah, absolutely. Vincent's here. Have you fed him today? What's going on here, Daniel?
Yeah.
Just wants attention. He's all right. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so some of them are pretty interesting. Like Paul Morris told us about an end-season trip he was shot at in Rio de Janeiro. There's an exclusive in the book about it, and he was sort of given money to hush up about it back in the day, and he was never supposed to talk about it. But it's 30 years on, so yeah, he's come out and told us. Robbie O'Davis was probably one of my favourite interviews. It was when my interviews started to get a bit more serious with the guys. And he got very honest and raw sort of interview, and he talks about the black dog and stuff like that. And that's become a common thing with a lot of the players. They once football finishes, especially the more glamorous players, a lot of them they hit on hard times. It's not just the money, but it's the showmanship. So they don't have that big audience to play in front of. They can be walking down the road and no one cares about them anymore. Where the year before they've got all the attention.
Yeah.
That's it. Kurt, just a question to ask you, mate. Obviously, when you've been with Dad and the people that you've met, who's the favourite past player that you like most?
Oh, I don't have one. There's too many of them.
Too many of you, so you like quite a few of them?
Yeah, they all have their good parts, their down parts, so yeah.
Yeah, and you played yourself as a kid, like when you were younger?
Oh yeah, under fives.
Yep, under fives.
Wooden spoon.
Where did you play at?
Camden Rams.
Just down the road from here?
Yeah.
That's awesome, mate. And you go for Parramatta. Who's your favourite player today?
Don't have one either.
The whole team?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Not the king? Gutho?
Yeah, he's all right, yeah.
He's all right.
Or Sivo, Micah Sivo.
Oh, yeah, Sivo, yeah.
So, yeah, growing up as a kid in the 80s, you saw the epic para team with Eric Grove, as I was saying?
Yeah, Eric Grove. I got to meet him as a kid and some of the other players, but Eric Grove stood out. You know, and they just had a magical side. Bit better than today, but still, like today's very good. You know, that's such a backline, like Sterling to Kenny, Steve Ella.
Grove.
Grove. Even Paul Taylor at the back and John Muggleton. Like I interviewed John Muggleton just recently, so you know, just a fantastic side. Ray Price.
Yeah, Bob at the front.
Yeah, Mick Delroy, who's I got to interview him as well. He's in the book one. Sorry. So yeah, just a fantastic side, and yeah.
And where'd you grow up? Was it the reason you followed him? Parramatta area or?
No,
you ran
just
from around here.
My cousins and that were all Parramatta supporters. So and we used to go to the games a bit, and meeting Eric Grove and that. So as a kid, I didn't want to go for another team, and I still go for Parramatta. And like they say, a lot of guys are more loyal to their footy teams than their women.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Why'd you look at me?
I'm not looking at you. I'm just saying it's very true.
Yeah, so you were just telling us off air, Kurt, when Trev asked you your favourite player. Paul Morris came around for a barbecue. How'd that finish up?
Oh, yeah, he was... we were out in the back playing footy. He was trying to teach me how to tackle, go for the legs. Because, a man can't run without his legs.
Mm-hmm. Some will say he can't run without his head as well.
Only they Lewis say that. So.
Yeah, so I'm the first tackle. I grab him around the legs. Then, he's got hip problems and,
And he'd had about 12 beers.
Yeah. Then he just tumbled straight on top of my ear. His hips smacked right into my ear.
Yeah, but he's pretty apologetic.
Yeah.
Like he's
How'd you pull up?
Sorry, Curdy.
HIA the ear was a bit red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got through it all right.
Yeah.
So how'd you make the leap down from, so you started with your cards when you were a kid, how'd it grow into this? How'd it grow into everything else? Was it just...
I don't know, just a lot of involvement.
Happened,
yeah, because originally I collected footy cards, and then I actually went into the Navy and that died off completely. I didn't even follow football for about 98, for maybe 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Watched the occasional game at the pub or something. Then when I left the Navy, I moved over to WA and I just started... I think I went into a shop and saw some for sale, and I ended up buying a packet of cards, and then I bought a box and then a case. Like a case has got 12 boxes. And then from there it was like, is this getting a bit out of hand, or you needed to sell some, so I started an eBay account. And then from there, put my name Dan's NRL, and I made a website. So I made the website selling the footy cards and that sort of thing. And then so from the shop building up, and I started selling, branching out to big leagues and rugby league weeks and the rest of it. And that got pretty big. And then with the interviews, so then things started to grow with the interviews. So I interviewed 1 or 2 players. I interviewed a couple of guys who sort of fell on hard times. So I was thinking, what's a way I could do something, to maybe give them a little bit of cash or something. And, because just about every single guy I've interviewed, they're happy to do it for nothing. Like, there's no money involved. It's just a chat. They're always happy, especially guys from the 70s, 80s, 90s.
And not self-centered.
No.
A completely different perspective on life. And it's I've actually learned a lot just from brushing shoulders with a lot of these guys and that. And so I ended up holding some functions. So the last 3 years or so, I'd get 3 or 4 footy players to turn up and get up and talk. We had trivia, so I had Chris Atkins he come up against David Middleton on the footy show. He's a really shy kid, but I got him up on stage, so he's doing that. And my son as well was they did it as a pair doing the questions, and then that sort of led into doing the book because I already had so many interviews, and it just sort of one thing leads into another. We were talking off air about all the networking and stuff, and there's a hell of a lot of networking with this, and even doing this podcast, and and also I like the involvement with with the fan, Andrew Voss's show on Foxtel. So,
How did that come about?
yeah, well, that's interesting as well because it's the same sort of thing like the networking, but he remembered me somehow. Back when he had boots and all, I emailed him quite a lot asking about different things, and he remembered, and he contacted me out of the blue and said, "Oh, can you get all your footy stuff out? We're going to come out and do a show. This is at Fox before the NRL channel."
Yep.
And we were in there, and I had basically all of one side of the dining room all full of footy cards, everything, magazines and different dolls and records, everything, and the other side of the living room as well. So it was all just stuff everywhere. And then, so Vossi did this, it was probably a 5-minute thing just on my collection and whatnot. And then he said to me, "Look, between you and me, NRL's going to have its own channel, and I'll get my own show, and I'm going to give you a little segment." And then I sort of thought, I didn't really think too much of it, but yeah. And then true to his word, he came back a couple of years later and he said, "I'll watch this Antiques Roadshow. I want you to sort of do that." And yeah, it was actually pretty daunting for me because I'm pretty reserved sort of person actually, and.
So with a TV shoot, is it him and 4 blokes? Is it him and a cameraman? Is it they set up lights?
He'll come.
Yeah.
It's all pretty off the cuff, a bit like this. So he'll come in and we might have a few things and a few people might have sent a few things in and we make up stories as well. And we basically evaluate stuff and there'll be a camera guy, there'll be a sound guy and then the director, Lee, would come out as well. So, and it's a full day. Like by the end of the day, you're pretty exhausted. I feel exhausted and he's had me up here. Start to remember the lines. So he'd go through pretty quickly. We'll say this is from here and you got it from, looking at the way it is, it's from Shenzhen, China or something. And so we did the whole thing. We tried to film it all in one go and then do another angle. And we did the whole thing and then I got the Chinese name mixed up. He goes, "Jesus Christ, fucking hell, Dan." I've never heard him swear before. He goes, Kurt, you're going to have to come out and replace your father. And it made me, I thought, Jesus. So I had to really think about it. So, I found it a bit
Did it get
harder.
easier or was it just
It is easy now. Like, like we haven't filmed this year, like I said, but last year we basically filmed twice a year, so that'll do.
And you do a whole day and that lasts 10 minutes
six
every
episodes,
week.
a day, and that'll do for the year. But it's a bit more natural now. Like I feel comfortable with him. But like the first time it was, it's sort of a bit daunting. And you what do I say?
And how's working with Vossi? Is he all right?
Oh, he's excellent. Like he's extremely smart. Yeah, he remembers. He's got a memory. It
comes across that way. So he's encyclopedia of the game.
Yeah, and he's very funny. His wit's funny. So I think that's probably why we get along. We've got the same sort of wit, like a very dry sense of humour. Yeah, and he does a lot for the game. He's the sort of person I don't think he's ever said anything bad about someone. Yeah. He commentates a lot, like him, and how busy you'd be doing that. To get through all that without bad mouthing people, I think that's exceptional.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, just on that, mate, like, people don't badmouth anyone. It's good. Like, in this day and age, you see most commentators, definitely the ones that are journos as well. Yeah. They're the first one to bag a player out, badmouth them, or an official, and that. But then they'll go up to them the next day and want to be their best mate. Yeah. You can't do that.
No.
So, fun fact about Vossi, I think I was the only bloke that bought his parenting book.
I've got it. I've got it in there.
I've got one. What are they worth these days? I should have asked.
I didn't know about it. I saw it in Rugby League Week. I think it was 2013?
It was 2010 because when I was about at my first one, Maybe later. No, it was when I was having last.
Yeah, and then I saw it. I thought, geez, I've got to buy that. And I was trying to find it. It's not in any bookshops now. Yeah. But I bought it on eBay. I might have got it for 20, but I'll tell you, it's probably worth 500.
Oh, good, excellent.
Antiques Roadshow memorabilia.
I should have got out of it. We've just moved house. I should have got out of the box and brought it down.
Yeah, I've got one inside.
As a rent, so we should. So well, there we go. We're the two that bought Vossi's book. That's great. It wasn't a bad book actually. So, what else do you involve with rugby league? So you're involved with the Asian NRL?
Yeah, I've just got appointed on the NRL Asia as secretary, and that's something I'm very interested in. I'm keen because there's a very big market in Asia.
Yeah.
It's played in Thailand, Philippines, and a few other places. And there's a lot of room for growth. Like AFL's up in China. The rugby league, the NRL should. It's an audience that we could capture.
Is it like the ugly sort of step kid, or is it being embraced? Does Zeno realise what they have there, or is it? Obviously, this year's a bad example because of everything's going on.
Yeah, this year's the time to plan for next year.
Yeah.
But,
is there a concerted push, or is it more, I guess, PNG and Islands, which we'll talk about soon?
Yeah, I think we're trying to get a competition started up in Thailand.
Yeah.
And also a competition in Sydney with like a Vietnam team and. All this. We're just trying to work out what numbers and what clubs to associate. I don't really know that much as yet. We're just early discussions.
How did you get involved with that?
Well, I went to Thailand to write a story for Rugby League Review. I've written for Terry Libidopoulos for nearly 10 years, just different things. And I went up there to cover this NRL Asian Nines. ASEAN Nines it was. And that was, there was a group of different teams. And there was like some Thai players, Thai referees. There was a team from Ireland and some Ireland expats from Australia. There was New Zealand teams. And it was just a good competition, up there and trying to grow the name. Yeah, there was... So there's referee clinics up there, coaching clinics. Guys like Brian Smith's involved up there over the years. Taz Batiri's always sort of overseen a lot of it.
Taz is a good man.
Yeah, he is. I interviewed him for book 2 as well recently, and like what he's done for International Rugby League is just incredible.
He's the godfather of International Rugby League.
Yep. Yeah.
So just for our listeners, just touch on Taz. His job is the rugby, well, now it's International Rugby League, development officer. And so he's been developing the game around the world now for quite a long time.
Oh, he has.
Who funds that? Is that an NRL thing, or is it self-funded, or is it?
Okay, as far as I'm aware, best of my knowledge, it's part of NRL, but
everyone chips in a bit.
Everyone sort of chips in and just goes from there, and just whatever funding comes.
And sponsorship as well. Like there's a lot of pushes for sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard work. None of it's easy, but I think it's something that's like I've been watching a bit of footage from 2000 with the World Cup, like all those teams involved, Lebanon and Wales and all these. That's what we want to see. We want to see the game growing.
Absolutely.
We would like to see a Philippines team and a Thailand team.
I think those sort of early 2000s are almost like a golden age for. They weren't the strongest nations, but everyone had a team.
Yeah, emerging nations.
Then it was they stripped it back a bit, and now the push is back on, I guess.
Yeah, because at the moment the game's predominantly played the east coast of Australia and the M62 north of England.
Yeah, and all those islands off the Australia.
That's right. So, sorry, I lost my thought.
Oh, okay, keep going. Yeah. So the rugby review, so the writing for that, how'd that? So you've written.
That happened. Terry wrote a book review for me with the card book.
Yep.
And he said to me, I can't remember how it happened, but he said, "Would you like to write a story?" So what I mainly write for him, we'll pick a season. So the first season I did was 1963. Mm-hmm. I sort of talk about what happened in 1963, a bit of the football, and then what football cards were released. So, and we've done that the whole way through, and now we're up to. I've got to write one this week. He just messaged me last night. I've got to write 1999. So there wasn't a lot of cards in 1999, but there was club cards or whatever. But I also talk about the semi-final series or, any major things that happened that year. It's just so I usually get one page. But the other interesting trip I did, I took Kurt up to Kokobo. Well, we originally went up there because my grandfather was there in the war against the Japanese, and I waited till he died before I went up there because I was always talking about going up there because I was in the military as well.
Yeah.
And then, when he died, I thought, no, let's just do it. So we went up. We flew up Port Moresby, then it's another hour and a half over to Kokobo. And it was like the last night we were there, wasn't it, Kurt? We're in the... Can I say this? The white man bar. Yep. So there's still like that. It's an old colonial.
Yep.
And I was there talking to a few of the guys, and they said, "Oh, you've talking about footy." I said, "You got to talk to John Nightingale. And I was thinking, who's that? And then they went around and got him. So the club's here. He walks around the corner, around the fence, and that's his house. So overlooking the harbour there is, beautiful spot.
Yeah.
And he come around, he said, look, you got to come back for the Cocobo Nines in 2 weeks. And I rang Terry. I said, if I come back for this, I want at least a couple of pages because, I want to cover the whole story about the tournament. And so Terry said, yep, go and do it. And John Nightingale said, look, we'll give you a box seat up in the shipping container overlooking. So that's humour.
Look at that.
And we went back. So we went back 2 weeks later. And it was interesting, some of the stories, like this is their national this is their national sport, rugby league. That's fanatical.
Yeah.
So, Kurt sort of helped out, and we took photos and interviewed a lot of the not many of the players, more of the managers of the sides. And one team I remember, the island above New Britain, was it New Ireland?
New Britain.
New Britain, yeah, but the island. So this team, they got on the back of a truck, and it was like 12 hours to get to the centre of their island. And then they get on a ferry, another 12 hours from there to Cocobo. So they're on the back of a truck for 24 hours to go and play footy.
Yeah.
They don't even have footy boots. When they
So they're in sand shoes, just run around in joggers.
Barefoot.
Wow.
yeah.
Barefoot footy.
And the footy was probably the best footy I've ever seen. Like it was tough, very tough. There was a Queensland side, but most of the sides were like these islands, and I think there was about 3 or 4 from Port Moresby. Yeah. So they were strong teams. But he also, John Nightingale would use that because he owned the Agmark Gurias, the football team. So he'll do this as a bit of a recruitment. So he's put it all on, the whole tournament, and he'll get this raw talent from these places. These players would never get any exposure to anything. So they can get into that. Then from there they can get into the Digicel Cup, which is the cup up there. And then from there the goal for the New Guinea guys is to play in the...
for the Hunters.
The Hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one interesting thing, if I can talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
So we were there for the whole tournament, and it was the final. So the final was between the local team and the team from Port Moresby, I think. And anyway, the game just finished, and this massive earthquake. It was a 7.8 on the Richter scale. People were running off the stands and everything. And I was saying to Kurt,
how's your shipping container going?
Get into the centre of the field.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was shaking. I've never been in an earthquake before.
7.8 as well.
Yeah.
Didn't miss you. Wow.
It was a little way away, but hit us. And John Nightingale at the end of the thing got up and said, look, that's just the Agmark Guria, because Guria means earthquake. So that's the Guria saying it's not happy about the money leaving the area, going back to Port Moresby. So that's what it was.
So, Kurt, how did you enjoy that experience?
Oh, yeah, it was very interesting, good experience. It's very different to here. Yeah. So
how's the climate for rugby league over there in terms of just humid or not too bad, or
it was
like hot day for the guys running around?
It was a bit hot. Yeah. Tropical weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, sticky weather. hot.
Unreal. Yeah, cool. So talk about a bit about your Dan. So you military man, obviously family related. Spent time in the Navy.
Yeah, 10 years in the Navy.
Yeah.
And then I just had enough, and then I ended up moving I'm a surveyor, so I moved into offshore oil and gas survey. So I've been doing that ever since. So I think I've been doing it 15, 16 years. So it's a bit better. Got a lot more time off, but the military is good for young people. But I just had enough when I was about 30.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But we've seen Kurt and I were talking about some of the miniatures and stuff, so still a passion. What's your spare time entail, apart from like cleaning up and going through this? Do you get much? And is there other passions you've got?
Apart from my current girlfriend? Or
oh, you talk about her. Give her up as well. She looks good in an East jersey, I've been told. So that's
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one there.
Yeah, Tina, she works for Qantas, and unfortunately, like in these times, so she's been stood down as well. So so it's pretty crazy times actually.
Yeah. How's surveying been in the current climate?
Yeah, well, I've been stood down as well.
Yeah,
but I think next year's going to be pretty busy.
Catching up.
Yeah, there's some big projects, and Yeah, but it's just quiet at the moment. But the way I work away for a bit, and then I can be home for 2 or 3 months, and it's not an issue. So.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's all right.
what's the flip side? Are you on the road for 2 or 3 months same time, or is it
More like 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
and then but working away, it can be hard for some people, but like we get a lot of quality time.
Yeah.
So father and son quality time where you average 9 to 5. Father gets home, he's pretty tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's just a mindset.
Yeah, perfect. For the guys that are going to watch our YouTube channel, do you want to give a bit of a chat about what's hanging up behind us? So who have we got up here? And
Oh, right, yeah.
what can you say?
And some of this stuff's been on Antiques Roadshow on
Yep.
the fan. So that's Peter Sterling's shirt
Yeah.
from 86.
86.
Yep.
It's the Kiwis.
This one here, Robbie O'Davis gave me that, and anything Robbie O'Davis or any of the players give me, it stays with me.
Yep.
I never think about selling it. So that was at one of my functions actually. Retro Rugby League. He says keep on killing it. And Robbie O, if you ever want a guy to do a podcast or any sort of stand up talk, Robbie O's the guy.
Oh, fantastic.
This is 95 St George. Luke Goodwin. So Luke Goodwin, he sold me a Parramatta one, but he gave me a St George one. So there was 20 teams back in 95, and Luke went around and got them all signed. He was playing for Parramatta, and he went in the dressing sheds and got them all signed by someone else. So he's just a supporter, just like us. He played at the top level, but he's and football family, like his father, Lord Ted, another great guy to have met through all of this. What else do we have? That's Parramatta's training shirt. So Mick Delroy. And I asked John Muggleton which colour he was, because I don't know if you know, but Parramatta, they had a black, a white, and I think a blue training shirt. So all 3 grades, they'll just split them up. So you might have Peter Sterling, you could be an under 23 player, and you're in, you could be the 5'8" Peter Sterling.
Yeah.
And John Muggleton said he trained too hard, so his training shirts are all trashed. This is Frawley. What's his name? 1950 New South Wales jersey. I've forgotten his name, sorry. And this one here's a training shirt, 1983 Eastern Suburbs. So there's just a few of the items that.
Yeah.
And to me, I just think this is classic. This is the way rugby league should be, how we remember it.
100%. Yeah, they're great. And in front of us here, we got the 1980 Dally M.
Yeah, so this is the first ever issued Dally M trophy. So
Wow.
the way they did it was the club favourite player.
Yeah.
So this was Balmain. Percy Knight played for Balmain, so they called him out first. And I actually had the footage. So when we did it on the fan, I gave the footage to Fox because I got a pretty big library of footage, and they used that, and you can see Percy Knight get in it. And then Percy Knight wanted me to have it, so it sits in the bar, and it's
awesome.
It'll stay here forever.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Mate, it's good to have people like yourself around collecting the memorabilia, because one thing I've found over the years here in Australia that we don't respect the history of the game much anymore, like we once did. Most people said that sort of happened after the Super League.
League.
But mate, like, I've got to give you 2 thumbs up, because coming in here, I've just seen some of the things you got. It's brought back memories to my childhood.
Yeah.
As well.
So even I know it used to be featured in the fan. ARL 96, probably my favourite rugby league
ARL 96.
game
Oh, right. Yeah.
ever released. That was I used to play that when I was about 10 years old. Spent hours playing that on the PC.
Yep.
That's how cool a kid I was. That's a great thing as well.
A lot of talking points.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly on the with your video archive. So was that all just VCR stuff? You just film
this
games?
is just through. It's again networking. So I've just swapped. I might swap 10 games with another guy for 10 games, and I've just been doing it for probably 15 or 20 years, and I've built up a library. So
you transfer that over to sort of DVD or
DVD, and then trying to put them on a hard drive. But it's to me it's a lot of joy just watching an old game from 1983 or something, and you see how they play, and it's a different game. It's completely different. It's a much better game, I think. probably the best footy I'd say is the 90s.
Yeah, I was
the
going to
Canberra side, and just
Well, the first team I fell in love with was the Green Machine. So
Was
that
it?
was the I could probably name off the top of my head now, but the Brett Mullins era, Mullins and Nagus and
Kit Nagus,
Andrew, Stewart and in the forward pack, Ferner and everyone. But just good footy to watch, like just the set play pieces, everything like that.
Yeah.
The Cheens
Yeah,
body.
each team had their own style.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And in this day and age, most teams play the same. It's just who pulls it off the best.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
I think the most exciting in the last few weeks is teams are now trying new things again. Like we saw Moylan last night basically playing his first receiver, so they had 2 5/8s.
Yeah.
They're trying new things now. There's a bit more pace. How are you enjoying since they've brought the 6 again rule in?
That Volandis is a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
He is, isn't he?
I'd say he's the best person we've had, for decades.
Yeah, Trev knows how much.
Yeah, mate, I love the Landis. Like I've told everyone, I said he's the man to get everyone back. He'll get everything going. Everyone goes, oh no, he doesn't know what he's doing. I said, do you know who he is? And they go, no. So well, how about you go look him up and come back and tell me what he's done for horse racing?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I'm a racing fan as well, but I know what he drove there. But just he almost single-handedly willed rugby league back into existence this year, and has changed the game for the better. And even some of the proposed changes need to happen. I think he'll drive as well. So he's obviously very passionate.
Yeah, he's a man who gets things done.
That's simple as that.
And the people he's listening to the fans.
Yeah.
The big things are the one ref and the wrestle.
Yeah.
They're probably the 2 of the main gripes for a lot of people, and they've done.
Got rid of him straight away.
The 6 again's taken the wrestle out of it.
It
as
has.
well.
Yeah.
Well, now it's all about a quicker play of the ball. Like both sides have to do that, and it was good to see. Exciting Thursday night was just Melbourne tried to play East game. They tried to play up tempo footy and try and match him instead of trying to slow anything down. It was best game of the
What
season.
a game that was! What a finish at this.
Yeah.
What did you think of that, Kurt?
Well, we watched the last minute, remember? And
we watched the last minute.
That was ridiculous. You just think, what can possibly go wrong again? But we nearly turned off.
You're never safe.
Partner. Well, and that's the thing. 18 points is in the lead now.
No.
Momentum swings 18 points. You can run down in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
I've really loved it since footy's been back this year. Best people you've met doing books and doing this stuff and everything you do. Who's been some of the best people you've met? You don't have to bag it. I'll ask the worst later, but you don't have to bag it. But stick to the best.
There's so many great ones. Just looking at the book cover, like so many of them I've been involved with in quite a number of different levels. Like Terry Lamb, he took us all around Belmore Oval, and then we did the interview there, and then he did a function. Like Lord Ted, just a fantastic human being and like an enigma. And the way he sort of talks, and we did a podcast as well. We did our own little podcast. It's the only one I've ever done, but it's good. And a lot of them, they're all different. They're all good for. I sort of remember because I only see them for if it's an interview. You only keep it to about an hour.
Yeah.
And I get a lot out of it. Like Gary Jack. I've done quite a lot of things with him, and so I've interviewed him. He's done a function, and we've checked out his footy card, his footy sticker. I don't know if you know about that, but we checked out his footy sticker on the show. So on national TV, and I'm checking that he's got his pendage showing or not. So, so he was happy that was brought up after 35 years. And there's so many great guys, but the guy doesn't have to be a superstar. Like I've got a bit of a range here, so. Like Graham Foe, he's not that well known, but his interview was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was just a very tough Canterbury front rower, and back in the late 70s. And some of the stories he told me, and then he put me on to Greg Cook. So Greg Cook was, I think he was probably Illawarra's first or second signing very early on. So, and he was involved with the Bob Cooper, like he got his jaw broken from Bob Cooper in that incident. So we talk about that in book 2, and and he come over and we had a barbecue and had more than 8 beers, and then he slept on the couch. So it's great. I think and they're very genuine. Nearly everyone I've met, they're all incredibly genuine guys, and you build a lot of friendships actually from it.
Excellent.
So and I feel pretty blessed that I try to give a lot of respect and discretion, and I don't want to put anything bad about a person. So we keep it all positive, and it was just whatever they want to talk about. But,
you're not looking for a headline or a story. Like, you're looking for a good story, but you're not looking for a headline.
That's right.
Yeah, and so sometimes the best stories are just from their under 15Bs. Like it's not, it doesn't have to be about winning a premiership or anything. You find them by accident a lot of the time.
Well, a few weeks back, Matt Adamson.
Yeah.
One of the best stories he told us was him and Adam Gilchrist when they were playing in the under 15 state championship in cricket together.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just those type of stories. Like people wouldn't even know that.
Well, that's the thing, and I think it's important actually. Like, you know, I've only picking 30 players to tell their stories, but I think it's important. It's a lot of tradition there, a lot of just the stories. Like we've said, there's so much there. Yeah, they're all good guys.
Yeah, awesome. And we'll touch on just because we'll start the year. We picked our best teams we've seen. Who's been your favourite player and who's been the best players you've seen over the last 30 years? What would you say?
Oh, geez. I always thought Jared Hayne was just an unbelievable player.
Yeah.
You know, 2009 and I've interviewed a couple of the guys that played with him, like Tim Smith and Ben Smith.
Yeah.
And, just said he's just an absolute freak, you know. It's just a bit unfortunate how his career ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
Well, I've said if he didn't follow the NFL thing, he'd probably... in the chat for an immortal because he keeps it straight and narrow and he stays
incredible.
Yeah,
he was playing awesome footy before he went over to the NFL.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then he went to the Gold Coast and probably didn't work out real well. And then came to Parramatta and he would be up there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Anything else you want to finish on, Trev?
Mate,
back over beer.
Yeah, no, man. Got
another beer.
Shashi's gone down like a treat, really smooth, so I can't complain. And I've got the Kevin Hastings beer stubby holder.
Yep,
great guy.
And Terry Lamb one for me here. Awesome. Get your plugs in. Dan, where can we find your book? Where can we find your website?
Anything I sell's just at dansnrlcollectibles.com. So you just go there and the book, you just click on a picture there, it's straight to that. Yeah. But the book can be bought in quite a few other places, different shops and Shell Harbours, League of Legends, that's one. And quite a lot of different places. But it's just easy enough to get it from me. I'll sign them.
And a lot of your old articles are on your website as well?
All the articles that I've written for Rugby League Review are on there.
Yeah.
I have kept dodgy versions of the Foxtel Antiques Roadshow. In there I've got a publicity page and
it's all good.
Yeah. But I like to keep them because,
That's awesome. Yeah. Anything else you want to finish on before we kick back? Or?
No, I think, let's just kick back and have a beer.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, but thanks for inviting us into...
Yeah, thanks for coming.
At the Cumberland Oval Bar.
I know where it is now. We've found it.
Where it is.
Thanks for your hospitality. It's been unreal. Thanks for having us here in your home and at the bar and showing us some of this stuff. And we might do it again. We might do it again down the road.
And make sure you sign them.
We'll be signing this soon.
We love tradition here, so
we have to sign
we all sign the bar.
And we'll push that when there's some more fundraising stuff when you're back out and about, we'll get it pushed out through us as well and hopefully can be part of that. But other than that, thanks for joining us, Dan, and we'll kick back now. Thanks guys for listening. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify and Facebook, everywhere else you can find good podcasts, and we'll be back again shortly.